How's it going, softball fans? Braden here with Adam Paul. It's been a while since we had our last softball podcast because, well, one, there's a lot of rain, and two, we're preoccupied with Major League Baseball and all this other sort of stuff that came up.
Yeah.
But we're back at it, and let's get to our top 10 here. Starting off with some teams that are just out of our top 10. We've had some great softball going on. Mount Carmel, Santana, Brawley, Hilltop, Carlsbad, all teams that are on the cusp here. As we look at it, last week, most of these teams ended up winning. In fact, altogether, they only had one loss. But what can you say about these squads?
And the others, looking at the results from the other day, Santana kind of, got hammered by Granite Hills, 13-0. Mount Carmel won, so they're on a nice little winning streak. Brawley, they're a tough team, even with their best player Haley Garcia not hitting as well as she should, can be. She's only hitting like 2-something. The other teammates have picked it up, and they're, Coach Kearns is going to get them ready for a run in their division for the playoffs. So.
Let's talk about Brawley a little bit more and tell us and tell the fan. They're 14-3. Mm-hmm. They're a team from the desert, and everybody talks about the teams from the desert as like, well, they play desert schools. They're not playing the same competition out here. But being 14-3 is 14-3, and we know Brawley will come out here and beat some teams. So tell us why Brawley deserves to be ranked higher. Being at 14-3 just because they play in the desert.
Yeah, they do play in the desert, but when they come up here. They play in the Cougar Classic or the Hilltop Tournament or the Jaguar, whatever tournament it happens to be, they always give the San Diego teams a hard time, and they play respectable softball. They compete. No matter who they're playing, it seems that they always give the teams up here a run for their money every single time, pretty much.
And then when we talked about it last year a handful of times. We talk about it all the time, but you go out to the desert, it's tough to win out there. So they have the home field advantage, but when they come out here and win, they definitely get some extra props with that. Let's get to our top 10. Number 10 comes in at El Cap. They're 15-5. They had a tough loss last week to Mission Bay, but they have beaten Ramona, Otay Ranch, Monte Vista, Del Norte, and San Pasqual last week. A nice little week for El Cap. Poway comes in at number 9, Torrey Pines 8, Bonita Vista 7, and Granite Hills 6. Going into the season, Granite Hills probably had two of the best pitchers in San Diego. They're at 6, though. They're 14-7 on the year. Bonita Vista off to a good start. Torrey Pines, Poway, who just knocked off Mater Dei, who's we won't reveal yet where they're on our rankings, but they're high up there. Mm-hmm. What can you say about these 5 teams?
Granite Hills, like I said, they just took Santana. To basically what you call the woodshed, 13-0 the other day. Erica Simon hit 2 home runs, including a grand slam. Stacy Chambers. She hit a home run, struck out 8. Like you said, they have 2 of the best pitchers in the county in Katie Dobbs and Stacy Chambers. Coach Curtis, if their bats can do what they're supposed to do, it's like any team, obviously. But with them, especially, if their hitters get locked in with Haley Johnson and Bailey Wallace, look out. They're really dangerous. Torrey Pines, they're tough. Coach Moore has always got them going. They're young, as he told me earlier in the season. They played Helix in the in the Falcon Fiesta in a night game out at Helix, just like they did last year. Helix pushed them to the limit for a while. Torrey Pines came back to win that game. They scored 8 runs in like top of the 6th or 7th inning. Kyra Chan, I hope that's how you pronounce her name. She's like one of their top hitters at the top of the lineup. She's super quick. So as she goes, Torrey Pines goes, and then Haley White, of course, in the circle. She's really good as well.
Let's get to our top 5 here. Patrick Henry comes in at number 5, Rancho Bernardo 4, San Marcos 3, Eastlake 2, Mater Dei 1. So a handful of North County and South Bay schools here. As we go through the whole list, we'll talk about these top 5 in a second, but a lot of South Bay schools, a lot of East County schools dominating softball this year.
Just from talking to different coaches and doing the research and everything, the Mesa League down in the South Bay with Eastlake, Bonita Vista,
Mater Dei,
Olympian, Hilltop. That's a tough league. They're all going to beat up on each other. The same thing with the Grossmont Hills League with West Hills, Santana, Granite Hills, Grossmont, Steel Canyon. Now, some of those teams may not be as tough as they've been in the past, but they're going to give the top teams in that league a run for their money. Granite, like I said, is 5-0 after the first round, so they're in first place. But any of those other teams can come up and bite them or knock off another team. And I know a couple people have said that they think Grossmont can be that contender.
Let's talk about the top 5 here as I sidetrack with that last comment. But Patrick Henry comes in at number 5. They're 11-2. Rancho Bernardo 13-2 at 4. San Marcos 9-6. Again at number 3. Eastlake is the second best team in our thing at 12-2, and Mater Dei is 13-4. Mater Dei was ranked early in our top 10 at number 1. They're still at number 1. They're 13-4. What's the big difference between Mater Dei this year compared to last year? And I think it has to do with a certain player not being injured.
Yeah, Lexi Sosa, as we talked before, when she went down last year, it kind of, turned the momentum for them. This year, she's healthy and pitching really well, and their other players are, keeping the momentum going. I think their goal, was to, improve, prove upon what they did last year, and they got knocked out in the open division. And, I think, a lot of those players, they have something to prove.
Let's talk about, let's get some shout-outs out here. We get, pay attention to some of the girls that are out here, kicking butt in the San Diego section. So, Adam, go ahead and give us your shout-outs of the week.
I got Kyra Chan from Torrey Pines. Again, like you said, we were talking about, she went 9 for 13 in helping the Torrey Pines Falcons go 3-0. Raquel Moore from San Pasqual. She's driven him 25 runs and has five home runs for the Golden Eagles. They've won like 13 or 14 games already. In that tough one of the tough North County League up there. Courtney Williams from Coronado. She's helped them go undefeated so far at 11-0-1. They're in the top 4 for Division 3. She's hitting .526, driven 20 runs, scored 20 RBIs and scored 19 runs on the season. Desiana Patman, or Des Patman, for Patrick Henry. She's had a big day, a big week so far. She's gone 5 for 8 in the last 2 games with 2 doubles, 4 RBIs, a home run, and scored 3 runs against University City and West Hills, and helping the Patriots off to their hot start, probably their best start since my first year covering softball for East County Sports in 2015 when they had the Big 5, I should say, when they made the open division with Sierra Altmeyer, Madison James, Heather McEwen, and all those girls when they were actually ranked nationally by Mex Preps when they went on like a absurd 18-something game winning streak, and they were ranked, I think, as high as 21 in Max Preps' national poll.
So there's your historical fact, but I think Adam has another historical fact that he'd love to share with us.
Well, this one was going to disappoint you.
As a proud Don, I'm a little upset.
Yeah.
They're not off to a great start this year.
No, they're not. But
it's hard to replace
a legend.
A legend.
Yeah. So Cathedral Catholic, unfortunately, lost 6-2, 5-2 the other day to Scripps Ranch.
My neighborhood team. So
yeah,
there you go.
Alyssa Vilke in that game for Scripps went 2 for 4 with a double, a home run, and 2 runs, and scored twice and knocked in a couple. Sarah Nakahara went 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs. That's their first loss in Western League action since 2015, when they lost a 1-0 decision to Claremont in the 7th inning as Sarah Crawford outdueled Megan Faremo, despite Faremo striking out 11. So this is going to, make your mind go, whoa.
I can't wait. I can't wait for my mind to explode
the loss,
right
now. Now, going back to that loss, because they won
2015, where they lost to Claremont 1-0.
Well, after that, they won the next 7 games in that. So counting that, plus all the way up to the league opener, the league opener yesterday, They had won 37 league games in a row.
Completely owned the Western/Eastern League or whatever the heck it was at the time.
So that loss snapped a 37-game winning streak for the Dons dating back to that loss against Claremont. Like I said, after the Dons lost, they went 7-0, including a 3-1 victory in the rematch against Claremont. Now the 37 league wins in a row is tied for third all-time in CIF San Diego section history, with Holtville, who from 1996 to 2000 also won 37 in a row. Of course, if you're wanting to know the record, it's 53 league wins in a row by Vista from 1974 and 70 to 77 in the Avocado West.
See, we don't just give you the top 10 and player shoutouts. We also have historical facts because Adam has it all detailed out in his great notes here.
I heard another really interesting fact, and not San Diego related, but Norco, who came here a couple Saturdays ago and beat Mater Dei.
A predominantly good softball team, very good softball program in Southern California.
Yeah, they're number 1 in the nation and number 1 in SoCal in the state rankings. They too had their massive league winning streak snapped today. Actually, they lost 4-3 on a walk-off.
The Santiago Sharks.
To the
Sharks
of Santiago.
bit back.
Yeah, in the 8th inning, it snapped their 32-game winning streak and also the 35-game league winning streak in the Big 8 league. That's impressive. 35-game league winning streak, and then have a 32-game winning streak.
Well, especially when we talk about, year after year, we're covering this sport or baseball. You have one pitcher that's really dominant. All of a sudden, you got a chance, and it's any given day, especially the high school level. Any team can win, and we've seen that so many different times in the games that we've covered. I remember covering a game last year where Westview was playing Poway. Yeah. Poway's loaded, top 10 team. Westview's only got a couple wins, and Westview handled Poway pretty much. And we were sitting there planning on interviewing Poway after. That's the whole reason why we went there, and we ended up doing a Westview interview. But you know what? It happens. And it was a great interview, and it was a great time.
That's what makes this sport so awesome. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love baseball, but since we've been doing this, it's been a lot of fun, a lot of exciting action, getting to see a lot of these games and interviewing the girls and everything after the games. We've seen a lot of surprises in these 2 years that we've been doing this. So, like you said, last year with Westview beating Poway, did not think that would happen.
That was the one game we picked out. It's like, absolutely, we got to get a Poway thing. They're probably going to beat Westview right now. Whatever.
Yeah.
So
this is the playoffs. So.
But we got playoff rankings because it's all according to Max Preps, just like football and other sports.
It's really weird this year. So, and I didn't even know this.
Adam didn't know a fact about girls softball.
I found out from a couple of the coaches because I was trying to find out what the power rankings were, and they said, "Oh no, it had been voted on that Max Preps, just like football had done this for the first time this season, went to their rankings. Of course, now, just like in football, not everybody's happy about this because you can't figure out the formula.
Well, the thing that makes it difficult for softball is there's so many, inputs and there's so many different data with teams. And there's so many more games. It's a lot harder to pinpoint. And if you don't put your game into Max Preps, or you got duplicates, or you got other things, so many different things factor in that there could be errors. And the one thing that we found in football that we might find probably in softball, especially now with more teams and more things, is if one school in Iowa doesn't put in their scores, it could affect the school in San Diego.
Yeah.
And we saw that last year in football, where one game in Arizona ended up impacting a game or a playoff implication in San Diego, and all of a sudden a team that thought they were in the open playoff is now not in the open playoff because of some team that added a score late or some team that forgot to score something or some team in Arizona just winning a game that they weren't supposed to win.
Yeah, and then, like I said, talking to different coaches here about this, not knowing the formula because, for whatever reason, it's a proprietary formula, from what I've been told. Anyways.
CalPreps owns the formula. They don't want to sell it. They'll happily do it for you, I guess is what the thing is. But, hey, look, if I came up with a formula that works for something, I'm not gonna give it to anybody. I'm going to sell it.
Now, I don't know if it's configured into this, but I was told that run differential supposedly was a concern. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
like as a tiebreaker, potentially?
Yeah. I mean, you know, it
Head to head too, or two
something like
teams.
that. Yeah, it affects the rankings because they were talking about like in football, the score differential. You don't want to run up a score. You know what